Right, hopefully I'm live because it said it was going to go live at 5:10 because I think it does it on 5-minute intervals now, but hopefully it's on because I'm on. So yeah, see if people come on in a minute. No real subject for today. We'll see what people want to talk about. I'm just going to change the colour of that light because that's a bit blue. Quite like it on the yellowy mode. But I think there's a mixed colour one as well. It's that one. Yeah, we'll keep on the mixed colour one, so it's both the yellow and the sort of white light. All right, Bane. All right, Byron. Byron, for you and any other members, I'm going to try and do a members stream tomorrow because I said about doing one today, and then I couldn't remember if we actually said about a time for it. So I said if it doesn't notify people very well, that's not going to work. So I thought I'd just do a regular one today. It's the webcam I've had for a couple of months. All right, Potent. So if you want to look back at my videos, you'll be able to find when I got it. But thankfully, it was very nice of him. Thomas, who's one of my subscribers and members, donated towards it. Basically because he was getting fed up with the burn marks on the old webcam. So he's just sent me a load of money to buy a new webcam. Cheap what, Plato? You haven't actually said what the thing is. No, because cheap webcams for me are ones that are obviously shit video quality. I mean, obviously, you don't want to pay any more than you need to for something, but you don't want a cheap webcam because they're awful in quality. Like the first couple of webcams I had were just awful in terms of, like not focusing and flickering and that. Well, those signs, or do you mean that one? Just it was on eBay at one point. So again, it's just seeing something for sale and buying it when it's available. But yeah, it was a seller that had a load of old military road signs. No, like we talked about it a bit in the other stream the other day, but I've not done a video on it. There's loads of videos on it though from channels actually more related to Ukraine. All right, Thomas. Yeah, I'm not too bad, thanks. I had a stomach infection or something like a week ago, but that's clearing up now. So for the last week or two, I've not been on as much as I normally would have been, just because of the fact that I had a load of days where I just felt shit really. So yeah, but thankfully that's getting a lot better, and it seems now like every day is better than the previous day. Where for quite a while it was like I could have a bad day, I could have an all right day, then I'll have a bad day again with it, and yeah, that's good. So the blank firing revolver I've ordered has been dispatched, so I'll do a video on that when it arrives. I've got some other videos again that I've actually filmed and just not uploaded yet, and I've got a load of Polish NBC gear I've not got around to filming yet. So a big hazmat suit, a couple of Geiger counters, things like that. I've got real guns and air guns. I can't show them on stream though because it's against YouTube's rules. But I've got deactivated guns, I've got air rifles, I've got airsoft guns, I've got some obsolete calibers, which is basically just a gun where it's hard to find the ammo, so the government doesn't consider it a gun anymore. Yeah, I live in England. Yeah, Thomas, I had loads of people I work with have had like colds and bugs, so I think I picked something up from somebody. That gave me, because I felt like cold and fluey for a bit to begin with, and then it like turned into like some sort of stomach thing, and then because I've ulcerative colitis, it just made that all worse. No, you can't own even a semi-auto AR-15 in the UK, let alone a full auto one. Yeah, no, there's loads of guns you can own in England. I don't have a shotgun certificate or a rifle certificate, because bear in mind, like I was saying, it's one of those things where there's different like categories of owning them. Yeah. Yeah, well, in theory, Byron, it's the ammo that's the illegal part of those, of the obsolete calibers. Because if you're a firearm, say you've got a Section 1 of you've got your obsolete caliber on it, you can register it to shoot it, and then you can deregister it again. Apparently, that's why a lot of people like them with some of them, because it means that, say you don't want to renew your gun license, as long as you've not got any ammo, you can just keep the gun and not follow all the like procedures of having to get rid of it. Yeah, you can get deactivated ones here, Mike, or you might have been speaking to somebody else. But... But yeah, like I said, I don't want this to turn into a thing though where people argue about gun laws, because I know Weapon Collector gets that on a lot of his streams and it just gets really tedious. I don't know, Plato. It sounds like a bit of a weird question. I mean, you're allowed to wear a mask if you're doing something, obvious with it. There's no laws in the UK about wearing a mask. But again, there are like public decency laws. So, like the reason you can't go around in a gimp suit, for example. Bane, it completely depends on what it is. You can get some like deactivated old bolt action like hunting rifles that nobody cares about, for like £100 or something, and then some of them are over a couple of £1,000 if they're like World War II, like famous guns or rare guns. So it really just depends what they are. Because yeah, if you bought a deactivated like run of the mill 22 LR bolt action or hunting shotgun or something like a break barrel hunting shotgun, when those are deactivated, they're worth like nothing because they're not interesting guns. So if you just wanted a shotgun to simply hang on the wall, you can get those really cheap because there's not really any market for deactivated, just generic sort of hunting guns, if you like. Yeah, exactly. What I would do, Mike, if you like wanted to get like one of those, not buy the actual thing, is get one of like the really good replica blank firers if you've got like the right stuff that a retailer will sell at you, because again they can legally sell at you, it's just they want a defense to sell at you. But yeah, I was looking at one the other day, but I've never bothered yet getting what the like whatever group's paperwork, like the theatrical group type ones or whatever else to actually bother with it. But yeah, for 500 quid you could get a really good like where they can't front vent but they have to side vent, but otherwise like full scale MP40. Yeah, LX8, the best one I can recommend, but again the problem is at the moment because of all the stuff that's happened with Ukraine and Russia, good luck getting them for their retail price. The Radia Code 101 or the Radia Scan 101, they're both very good. Like one's a Geiger counter, one's a spectrometer. They're both very good. You can get stuff like this from China, actually. Conveniently have it on my desk. Let's turn it on. I've done a video on this one. What was the brand of this? Something like 110 Sync or something, but GM100A. But yeah, this is one I got through Hype, and it's very good. It's just like a little bout clip-on one. So it's like, the nuclear industry type ones, but this lets you reset it yourself. Because the only problem with getting some of the, what do you call it ones, like some of the ex-nuclear industry ones, as much as some of those are really nice, is some of them require a special kind of like cable or whatever to reset, because they're designed so the user can't reset them, so when everybody hands them in at the end of a shift, somebody, if they got exposed to radiation, can't pretend they weren't or whatever if they wanted to do that. I don't know, Aleko, but people can just buy tanks if they've got like the heavy vehicle licenses for it. All right, Visa? Because yeah, you can find videos of just private people owning tanks in the UK. I mean, obviously the guns on them are deactivated, although you can have if it's a smoothbore tank gun, it can be registered as a shotgun because it's smoothbore, not rifled. Funnily enough. But the only thing with tanks, I think, is they have to have like special rubber tracks if you're taking them on the road. Which one are you on about, King Canada? The better Geiger. What's the name of the actual thing? Oh, are you on about the radio code? Yeah, the only thing is with that, like we're saying, because of the war in Ukraine, good luck getting one for RRP at the moment. I really like the SIG P220 series, but again, a lot of it is. All right, let me go have a look at that now. I don't actually have one of them. It's a cool looking case. So let me read it. $150, that's not bad at all, is it? Yeah, I'll bookmark that site. That looks interesting. But I won't get anything like that before payday. But yeah, for the price, it looks quite good, actually. And yeah, it looks like they ship to the UK. I just don't know what the shipping would be. But yeah, so like I said, I like the SIG P220 series. I mean, obviously, of the classic pistols, I like the Browning Colt 1911 and the Browning High Power. They're like two of my favorite ones. Those. Annoyingly, I often have an airsoft pistol on my desk of the CZ75, but I can't actually show you that on YouTube because then it strikes the stream. Because Mike got a strike the other day just for showing a crossbow, so it's one of those things where actually it might be up there. But yeah, it's up there. This is the annoying thing now, where like YouTube's getting really sensitive about picking up anything like gun or weapon related, other than swords and that. They're fine, but so I'm just not going to do it. Yeah, he said when he appealed it, it went back up, but it was the fact that like the bots auto strike you, then you have to wait for a person to actually view your thing and reapprove it. Yeah, sounds good, King Canada. I have to have a look after, like I say, payday and see if it's a sensible shipping cost to the UK. Because if it is, that actually looks really good. Because it would be good to find one that you can easily recommend to people. That's a new one at a good price. Like saying because with like it should have been with the therapy and the radio codes and everything that up until earlier this year that would have been an easy recommendation for me for people. But the problem is obviously when two of the countries that are best at making Geiger counters go to war with each other, good luck getting them for sensible prices on the market. But it depends what if it's a good one or a bad one, Plato. If you buy a really good spring airsoft gun, it's not going to break easily, like one of the like Tokyo, whatever they're called, like that L96. I still don't think I've done a video on, but that's a gas blowback convoy gun up there. Yeah, it seems weird because when I've had guns in the background before, it seems like it's fine. It seems it's as soon as you touch it, like the thing sees movement with it, that seems to trigger the bot. So it's like it's got motion based vision, I guess. It's like some sort of predator. You stay completely still, it can't see the weapon, but as soon as it moves, then the strike happens. So yeah, that's what people are saying, King Canada. So it's one of those annoying things where until I guess they're able to start reproducing them easily. But yeah, there you go. See, that one's on and working. So yeah, these are good anyway. Like I said, these are Chinese ones, but and there's also this one, which I got the speaker working on, which is a very basic one, but it's still not bad. And also this one's in Chinese, and I don't think there's a way of making it English if you don't get the English version. But yeah, this is all right if you just wanted something really cheap. Not that I'd recommend it. At least this, for like anything high dose. The good thing of this though is the DP2 source wouldn't actually stop it functioning. It would still just tick really fast. So this actually seems to not saturate, even though it doesn't show you above 99.99 microsievert per hour. It does register, well, not register more than that, but it will keep counting. No, Bane, the most interesting binoculars I have, the closest thing to a binocular I have is my granddad gave me, and they're in the shed somewhere, so I have to do a video on them at some point. I think they're artillery spotting scopes or something. They're a bit like periscopes. And I don't know how he had them, like World War II British, like observation scopes you'd use with an artillery gun or like a machine gun, that sort of thing. Like it's a rangefinder kind of periscope type thing, where you look through it at the bottom. I guess you're behind cover and you somehow, focus it on the target to establish the range, a bit like, the dual vision things, like the stereoscopic type things. That's cool, Ben. Yeah, like saying I was going to say the only binoculars I have that are quite good, that like my own ones, in terms of like vintage ones, there's some weird Japanese ones I bought in like a flea market type place, like what do you call it, like an antique shop where they just had like, you know, a massive pile of binoculars for like £5 each or whatever. And I dug through it and was surprised how good the optics quality was in these, you know, ones that had just been thrown in a pile of you know, cheap binoculars in a box essentially. So I bought those. Again, they're all right, but I need to put new eye cups on them really, because somebody ripped the eye cups off or they rotted off or whatever. But like my dad has some really nice binoculars, but that's because he goes bird watching all the time. So he's the sort of person that would spend, you know, like a couple of grand on a pair of binoculars. But I wouldn't, because, you know, I wouldn't use them that much. Obviously, I've got like night vision binoculars and things like that, but that's not quite the same thing. But yeah, I've always wanted the Soviet binoculars that are in Stalker, like not the magic ones in the game with, you know, like the thermal bit in them that makes enemies get outlined, but, you know, the actual ones they're modelled on, that I think some of the mods always have them textured after. What reminds you of RoboCop when it malfunctions, LX8 and what the bot? I was thinking in a bit, you meant in like RoboCop 2 when they reprogramming, like, don't smoke. Basically, everything has unboring videos. Like with any surplus, the longer it's on the surplus market and people buy it, generally the more expensive it gets, because, you know, surplus dries up if it's something not still in production. And again, anything where most of the stock came from Russia or Ukraine, it's completely self-evident why the prices have gone up. You know, because there's so much gear that prior to February, if you wanted to buy it, used to be fairly cheap or decently priced. Now it's, you know, all in use or just can't be shipped. Yeah, I've got two Visa. I've got an old East German one that's sort of rotting because it's like fake leather they used to put on them. So like the fake leather's falling off. So it's not one you ever want to put on a surface, you know, because you're gonna have to like vacuum clean it afterwards. And I've got one on my PNV 57As, you know, where it's like the exact same style thing, but they've mounted the PNV 57A on them. The French tank helmet I have is much better, in all honesty, in terms of, you know, like comfort of the materials and everything. But everybody now just does those sort of little sort of helmets, don't they, for crew members, rather than like just essentially like leather or like padded stuff. Just, you know, because they're essentially bump helmets, tank crewmen's helmets, that era. Yeah, let's say I'd been when I got my passport resorted out, I was planning on going to Ukraine, you know, as of late as last year, because my dad and I wanted to go to Pripyat and everything, and then Putin fucked that up, didn't he? I mean, you could go to Poland, all right, LX8. There's nothing stopping you going to Poland. Poland's totally safe. I mean, I know there was the thing on the border the other day with the missile, but, you know, Poland itself is very safe because it's a NATO member. You know, you can go to Warsaw, you know, Gdansk, whatever it's called. Is it Gdansk? The one in the port city in the north? That's quite nice, where they've got like the world's biggest castle near there. There's Krakow as well, or Krakow. There's, you know, there's lots of nice places in Poland. But, you know, like saying that's completely safe. But it's just that, yeah, if you wanted to go to Russia or Ukraine, you basically can't. Yeah, so that Geiger there settled about 0, you know, 0.2 millisieverts. Sorry, microsieverts. If it was 0.2 millisieverts, I'd be a bit worried. This one, because the radiation's so low, isn't actually giving me a reading. Unless I somehow paused it. Now, I think the only issue with this one is, because I think I've found this with some other ones, if you're basically at background, some of these never seem to pick up background. You know, like they pick stuff up as soon as you're slightly above background. But as you can see at the moment, it says 0 CPS. But I think that also is sometimes because when you turn these on, they take a sample of your background level for a minute, and then they only show when you start going above your background. So I had an idea for a charity stream, pit viewers against each other in a timed run to fit cheek viewers. I don't know how you'd be able to get the viewers to do it though, but yeah. I wouldn't mind doing a charity stream again. It's just thinking of a good thing for it. But yeah, I can't really, unless I'm doing like the joint ones of people I trust, I wouldn't really, want any random person to be able to join a webcam thing in case, you get somebody, doing whatever on it. But I might be able to do one of those in member stream, but I'd have to again look into ways you can get like multiple people on YouTube streams. I know Mike's done it before, hasn't he, with and I've done it before with is it StreamYards? It was one of those sort of ones, but YouTube was apparently doing a thing where you could actually get other YouTube members to like join the stream you were doing, but I don't know if they ever brought it out. I was saying I could probably do one as a members only one. Yeah, exactly, CM, but yeah, StreamYard, I like saying. But yeah, I'm saying it's annoying because YouTube is apparently going to be making an official thing where you could do that like in YouTube streams. Like say I'm streaming now, I could send like an invite code to somebody and then it would suddenly put them on half the screen. But I don't know if they ever actually finished doing it. Like it was one of their ideas. They said, oh yeah, we're going to be doing this. And unfortunately, I never heard anything about it after that because that would be so much better for, streaming with people not having to rely on other, streaming programs. Yeah, anyway, so as King Canada said, anybody interested in sort of getting a new Geiger counter dosimeter type thing, if those ones from Better Geiger are at a decent price over in the UK, that might actually be a good option. No, not really, Alexei, just because I've got too much space taken up by everything at the moment. I don't want to get into something else and then start spending my money on that. And I've got some like the Baofeng type radios and some of those which are all right because I've got one where I can listen to the air traffic control that's near me with it, but I've not got like ham radios or anything like that. As long as you do it properly, yes, you can replace the lenses as far as I'm aware in the FM12. Again, I've never done it myself, but there are repair kits for the mask. So I assume it is just a thing of one bit being taken out, another bit, replacing it. Because with most masks, if they're modern ones that have replacement lenses, essentially it's, I think, you have like an O-ring essentially on each side with the lens inside the O-ring, at the edges. So that's what makes it airtight. But like I said, I've never actually needed to do it. Is my FM12 behind me anyway? Hang on. That's a GSR, isn't it? That? No, never mind. I haven't got the FM12 easily accessible. Unless it's... No, that's Chinese in mask. Never mind. There is a shelf in the background there. That's an old bed frame used like a shelf with like storage boxes. But the problem is that the walls there you can't put shelves up on. That's about as good as you can do with a shelf. That one's on there, but that's kind of been done in a weird way. But most of that wall is not like a brick wall. It's like, if I got a hammer and hit it, you could go through to the next room. Because this house has like got brick walls on the outside, but the interior walls are essentially, like wood with like plasterboard type stuff in it. So you can't put anything, any real weight to it on the walls. Annoyingly, that wall there, although it's got a window on it, that wall, the bits like there can support weight. So where that bit's hanging up, that can, because that's actually brick on that bit. But that bit isn't, because that bit is like an exterior type wall. Yeah, sounds good, Captain Preston Frost. Well, lots of Russians now have to rely on SSH-68 helmets. So, you know, I mean, a lot of them now are getting fucking SSH-40 helmets that are rusted to bits. So, you know, you have current Russian army gear by having an SSH-68, technically. You know, if you had a Mosin Nagant as well, that's current Russian army issue. I'm not even making this up, by the way. The fucking amount of videos of Ukraine with Mobotniks, whatever they're called, you know, the Russian conscriptoviches with like their absolute dog shit equipment is amazing. I mean, not amazing for them because they're going to die horribly. But, you know, like the guys that have to buy their own body armor, buy their own medical gear, buy their own like coats, and then, oh, don't worry, comrade, here's a rusty AKM or like a Mosin Nagant will give you. FM12 is my favorite. Well, CT12 technically, because that's the rarer version of the FM12. I've not seen that yet, Alex Saint. I saw some like of the Donbass proxies earlier on with like PPS 43s, as in, you know, like the one that replaced the PPSH. But I haven't seen any pictures of the PPSH 41 yet. But it wouldn't surprise me if Nagants are coming out. All right, Rich. Yeah. So, but yeah, if they're literally, you know, not even able to issue AK-74s anymore, and they're like mixing between AKMs and other like stock of the age of AKMs or older, it's not good for logistics either. This is the thing. Like, imagine having a mixed unit where you have to supply both 7.62 by 39 and 5.45 by 39. Yeah, I was just really lucky when it came to the CT12 because it was before I even knew the CT12 was particularly, you know, rare compared to the FM12. You know, this is going over a decade ago or whatever. Or probably just about a decade ago, I can't remember. And it was just looked on eBay, you know, I was trying to find FM12, saw the CT12, and it was, you know, like one of those bid on it ones. I think the starting bid was £30 or something. I put £30 on it, nobody else bid on it. So with postage, I got it for less than £40. Right, are you thinking of the S10 and like the FM12 series, CM? Because that basically the S10 is the one that came before the FM12. It's just like got bigger lenses, but they're a bit more brittle. It's a bit heavier and bulkier. The FM12 is basically designed to, you know, cut most of the weight down on the mask, but still be the same mask. If you mean the VM40, I don't have a GM40. If you mean the VM40, then no, it's not in this room. But you can watch my videos of it. Yeah, everything's inflated in price, Captain Preston. UK inflation's at 11% now, I think. Or was that 11% from last month? It's crazy. But yeah, even if you try and sell surplus now you've got yourself, it's difficult because most people don't want to pay for it. You know, so unless you give it, essentially sell it well under the price it's worth, people won't buy it because they can't afford it. Because there was a helmet I've been trying to sell for like 6 to 8 months, I think. And it was like when I started off, you know, at £40, which was a fair price for it. And then, you know, like I knocked it down to 35, and then eventually, you know, somebody offered me £30 for it, and I sold it for £30. But it was one of those ones where, you know, it had been literally months and months and months, and I thought it might sell within a week. But no, I had to just keep, you know, every few months knocking the price down. Yeah, Rich, a bit like the PPSH mags are a bit like that, because my PPSH has a really tight mag that's really difficult to like load in and, you know, take out. And some had mags that would fall out really easily and wobble. And yeah, so it was like one of those things that when they found the right magazine for a gun, you basically always kept that magazine with the gun because you didn't want to, you know, go back to having one that barely fit or, you know, would constantly misfeed because it was so loose. Audi wants a shout, so there you go, Audi. Or Audi if your name's spelled like that. Not really stop motion, as in I have an eBay page I use now and again to like sell stuff, but you know, I don't post it here because then you get people fucking with you on purposely with orders. But like I said, the most of the time there's nothing on it, and then it's one of those things where now and again I might, you know, put a gas mask or a helmet on it or whatever. Yeah, the thing is, CM, I've spotted like there's lots of stuff where it either is listed for a lot of money and then nobody buys it, so it sits around for ages. Or you sometimes have the thing like where I was saying, where to get something to sell, you have to drop it down more than you really should. So, you know, the person getting it is getting it at a really good price. But again, I suppose that's because people's disposable incomes now are so low that, you know, lots of people can't justify buying stuff like that unless they're really cheap. I mean, there might be some stuff that's still being traded around. But, you know, like saying, and when I was speaking to other people on here that, you know, sell stuff on eBay of various types, they were all saying the same thing, that, you know, the stuff costs them more to get in the first place if they're like, you know, an actual trading sort of an account. And then they're finding that, you know, the profit margins get smaller and smaller because when they come to sell it, you know, most people don't want to pay, you know, what would be the market price of things. Yeah, it's not bad at all. If sometimes if you're lucky and you've got a small head, I don't know if you're lucky to have a small head or whatever, but people with small heads, I've noticed, sometimes get really good deals on gas masks, because often I've seen the small size gas masks of like every mask available, and the last one's left in stock and they're reduced to like the cheapest price because most people don't have a need for, you know, like a small and average adult head size. Yeah, that's the reason, Alex Saint, that I don't get any World War One masks. I wouldn't want to get something that would then deteriorate because I don't look after it properly and can't store it properly. The World War II ones I've got are all fine because most of those are actually quite well made. But saying that, my Japanese World War II mask isn't okay, but that was one that I got in bad condition, you know, so as long as it doesn't completely disintegrate, I don't care. I did try it briefly, seeing if I could get any joy out of restoring it, you know, and it's the more you handle it, the more it seems to disintegrate, so I just leave it where it is now, like, you know, locked away in a cupboard. But I've done a video on it, but that's one people have said, can I get that on the stream? Like, no, because a bit more of it will fall off every time I hold it up. I don't know if they're rare, Rodney, but they're certainly not as common as the Israeli masks, just because obviously they're the ones that, like, almost a copy of them is more famous than the original mask. I don't know how long they were produced for, in all honesty. Anyway, I'll be on a few more minutes and then I'll be off because I've still unfortunately got some jobs to do around the house tonight. So yeah, I'm going to try and do a members stream tomorrow. So for any of the members that are on, so like CM and was it Byron was on earlier, and Aleko's on, and Visa's on. So I'll be trying to do a members stream tomorrow. So is this the sort of time that works best for people, like 5 p.m. UK time? Because I can do one at 5 p.m. definitely tomorrow. I can't see any reason why I can't. But it helps the members streams if the notifications are a bit dodgy, that people know roughly when to watch out for them, as well as, you know, being free, because if they're not free in the first place, they can't watch them. But yeah, but the funny thing is, Captain Preston, is like gas masks aren't even made for airsofting anyway, are they? Because they can get like damaged quite easily through airsoft, funny enough. But yeah, it's good that you found out about them that way. All right, CM. All right, cool. Yeah, well, I mean, I could do one 5 p.m., 6 p.m. sort of time tomorrow. So I could do, say, 6 p.m. tomorrow. It's just knowing really when to do it. Because the problem is that unless anybody agrees on a time, you know, they don't know when to look out for it. And again, if everybody wants a different time, I can't do like 6 different member streams in the day. But I could just say 6 p.m. UK time tomorrow. We're GMT 0 again now, at least. So it's, you know, if people look up GMT time, we're just GMT 0. We're not like a weird +1 or whatever for summertime. But yeah, so I'll say 6 p.m. for a members stream tomorrow, and then if I start it and after like 10 minutes nobody comes on, I'll just do a regular live stream. I'll try and aim for that. And then if something comes up where I can't do one at all at that time, I'll just try and do a member stream at a different time and hope people come on, you know, just in case something happens that I, you know, can't foresee, so I can at least try and do one. But yeah, I'm hoping now I'll be back to at least doing 1 or 2 videos plus several streams a week now, because like I said, until I get ill with something else, at the moment I don't see why, you know. But bear in mind, like I said, I don't normally do streams or videos at the weekend because I normally work like 9 or 10 hours now, Saturday and Sunday. So if I'm working like a 20-hour weekend, I don't really have time to, normally when I get home, I'm either so exhausted I go straight to bed, eat some food, have a bath or a shower, and then go to bed. Or, do those things and then just want to watch a film and then go to bed. So I don't really, stream on weekends. Sometimes I can on a Sunday if I've got the energy after work on a Sunday, because I don't have to get up early Monday, but I am up at 7 a.m. again tomorrow, so anyway, yeah, I won't be too late to bed tonight. But what I am going to do in a moment, though, is get a plaster for my thumb, because I've got quite a deep cut on my thumb, and it's one of those ones that it keeps scabbing over, and then the scab keeps coming off, so it keeps bleeding, so I think I might as well put a plaster on it to stop me accidentally picking at it or catching it on anything. Yeah, I mean, Captain Preston, you can get masks, obviously, that are solid enough, and then you can get like a ballistic lens for them that makes them perfectly safe for airsoft. It's just, yeah, a lot of people seem to think like a gas mask is like, oh, that would be a cool mask for airsoft, where in reality it's like, yeah, they're not designed for like BB impacts. They're designed to, protect you from obviously chemical, CBRN type stuff, and be, rugged enough that you're not going to break them easily if you accidentally bump them into things. But they're not designed to be hit over and over again with BBs. That wasn't how they were designed. But obviously some masks are completely fine for airsoft, or can be adapted to be fine for airsoft. And you could always, with some masks, wear the mask and have like a riot helmet type thing over them, couldn't you, or some sort of face shield, and that would work. But it's just that, yeah, it's just the thing where people seem to think that, oh, they're really good for airsoft. Like, no, they're not. There's especially some of the old glass lens masks. Like, no, you certainly don't want to be that in the eyes, because then you've got the chance of either a BB penetrating the glass and going into your eye, or the glass shattering and then broken glass going into your eye. But anyway, have a good evening, everybody. And like I said, I'm going to try and aim for then 6 p.m. UK time, so 6 p.m. GMT 0, to do a members stream tomorrow. Hopefully people get a notification for that if they're on, because obviously, as we know before, sometimes the notifications work on member streams for the members, sometimes they don't. And then if I have to do it at a different time, or I have to just do a regular stream because it's not working, I'll do that. But all right, Lisa, yeah, so have a good evening, everybody. And then, yeah, I'll hopefully be on tomorrow evening, same sort of time.